The following program does not necessarily represent the views of the Trinity Broadcasting Network.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Joy in Our Town. I'm Ann Farrell-Tata, your host, and today I'm delighted to welcome MaryAnn Toboz. MaryAnn is the Executive Director and founder of the Tidewater Arts Outreach, and our issue today is health, and we are going to be talking about art and wellness. So welcome to the program, MaryAnn.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about what the Tidewater Arts Outreach is and how you came about?
Sure. And I am a musician and an artist, and I founded Tidewater Arts Outreach in 2004 out of my love for sharing music with people. I'm also the second oldest of 11 children, and so I was an instigator and ringleader from way back when, and it just translated very well into making music and making people happy through music in a group setting. And I started going to nursing homes and sharing my music with folks there, and quickly saw that there was a huge need for people to want to have those kinds of experiences that music and art can provide. They're normalizing experiences. They give us reason to celebrate at any age or any stage of our life. I saw the joy welling up. I saw people asking me, please come back, please don't forget us. And I just realized that people needed this kind of service.
So now, what exactly do you do now on a day-to-day basis?
Oh boy, well, it's really evolved a long way in the 12 years from when I started Tidewater Arts Outreach as a small operation out of my home. We have 4 part-time staff now, and we have a little office in Ghent. I have to raise the funds to run the organization. I'm managing the website and running a board of directors, and helping our staff understand their roles so that they can be effective, helping our artists understand their role so they can be effective. We schedule training programs and workshops, and I also work really hard to find out what the resources are not only in our community, but in the larger, broader community, so that we can share those resources with people here in Hampton Roads so that they know how what the applications might be for different arts modalities in their environments, and what are the benefits. There are a lot.
Well, and so when you talk about the arts, you're also talking about art, dance and music and
all the arts.
All of the arts.
Yes.
So what are some of the other things? You work with children as well and special needs?
We do. We work with, we primarily work with elders, but we also take where our artists lead us. And so artists have come to us with wonderful programs. We've got a program called Melodyville, and it's a songwriting program that we're using for kids who are in domestic violence programs. And kids, so the Melodyville program has kids coming together in a group, and they're working on a theme for an hour, and they come up with a song in that hour, and that song is recorded also within that hour, and it's played back for them, and then they're given, through the power of the internet, links to copies of that song. So one of our recent programs had kids writing a song called You Gotta Get Up. And the facilitator led them through the process of asking, what do we have to get up from? What are challenges in our life? And the challenges started from things like doing my homework or my kid sister picking on me, to much larger issues of bullying and self-esteem and moving forward in life purposefully. So a very powerful program that helps, that really helps kids. We're hoping for a long time, long past that 1 hour.
Well, can you talk a little bit about how the healthy lifestyles and art, how that works together?
Sure, and that's just one example, that Melodyville program, how we're helping those kids regain some mental health and some emotional health health through realizing that they've got stamina and they've got these different resources to pull through. Other ways, and particularly, I think that we know some of the educational benefits for young kids as far as stimulating and helping them sequence through the natural sequence of songs or through art, painting one thing and then another. But with elders, there are particular benefits, and we've decided to focus on elders in our organization as just starting as late as this year because there's such a need and there are so many benefits. And those benefits might include singing for people who have suffered from Parkinson's or dementia or a stroke. So singing helps, it helps your vital lung capacity if you can get people to sit up and breathe deeply. It helps, so it would help your posture and your bone structure. It also helps you mentally accommodate language again for people who are losing the ability to speak well, because singing uses many areas of the brain, and language is primarily located in just one center. And so singing helps those individuals compensate from an area that's lacking through these other areas.
That's amazing.
It is. It's very powerful.
So do you contact the nursing homes and go to them, or is there a center where they come to you?
We do go to them, and so many of their residents are in wheelchairs or in walkers, or wheeled into rooms in beds, in rolling beds.
Wow.
So people, we do take the programs to them, recognizing how challenging it is to get people from one location to another.
And so, like, if you went into a center, would you have a musician and an art teacher, or do you sort of pick one and focus on that?
Yeah, we have done that in the past, and when we can, we do that. And often when we're doing a visual arts workshop, we'll have music on in the background, for instance. But mostly it's one modality at a time. It might be poetry one day. And for poetry, we take examples from a process called the Alzheimer's Poetry Project, which was created by a gentleman, Gary Glazner, in New York City. We brought Gary into town 2 years ago to train artists and caregivers on how he uses poetry to reach people with dementia. And so we've taken his teachings and his book and what we know, and our poets in the community who bring all of their talents and passion, and we're bringing poetry to elders with dementia. And
how does that work? Do they
It's a 1-hour process. It's a group process. And all of our programs are group programs. So we're not doing one-on-one. We're not quote-unquote music therapists or art therapists, but we are musicians and artists who are using the arts to help people connect again with their artistic side. So the Poetry Project works in this way. It's a group process. Everybody gets a name tag. If we're lucky, we have some college students helping us, so we have facilitators. But if not, that poet at least has one volunteer who is a facilitator or a scribe for that person. And we start with some easy poems to warm people up to the idea of this is poetry. And we might use call and response to get them to answer the last word, or to repeat the line with us, to bring them again in so that they understand, because it takes them a little while. They're a little slower on the uptake.
Yeah.
It takes them a little while to understand, okay, we're doing poetry now. So we start with the group poems, and then we move into a themed discussion. And last week the theme was summer. And so we talked about, how does summer smell to you? And we use the senses to help them, again, connect with what they are most familiar with. So how does summer smell to you? It might smell like cotton candy. It might smell like hot dogs, or it might smell like the beach or sand. And so we go through the senses, and then we scribe, our volunteers are scribing these responses and looking at the name tags and affirming, okay, Anne said this, and Mary said this, and Peter said this. And then our very skillful poet facilitator will take these comments and will weave them into a poem, and he'll give it a title, or he'll ask the group to give it a title. And then, so it's very affirming. They hear what they've said. They understand they've been listened to. And they're delighted at the skill of this poet facilitator who can take these comments and maybe flip one on its side, or make a joke about it,
or put it to music and make it a song.
Yes. We actually sang Under the Boardwalk at that program. We read it, and so, but they were filling in the words.
Yeah. How about dance? Can you give us an example of how you incorporate dance into this?
Well, and again, we're using the talents of our artists,
Yeah.
artists who come to us. We have we have a couple of dance groups. One is a modern dance group on the peninsula who uses modern dance, and they use things like scarves to bring the clients in so that our participants, the elders, can grab a hold of that or feel it on their arm as it goes across their wheelchair, and they can see these scarves. So we're engaging them tactily and with proximity by having our artists move close to them. We have another wonderful group, a Polynesian dance troupe, and they use hand hula in addition to more traditional hula. And so hand hula is almost like sign language.
Oh, yeah.
It's speaking with their hands. And they do songs like Elvis Presley's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, and What a Wonderful World, and Judy Garland's Song Over the Rainbow. But the example of Elvis Presley, if you can imagine 6 dancers standing very close to maybe 2 or 3, each of them has 2 or 3 residents, and they're giving eye contact to all of them, and they're using their hands to share their love, that expression of love. I Can't Help Falling in Love with You is appropriate for any age, and we truly love the seniors and the elders and the people that we're serving. As artists, this is our ministry, and it's our way of showing our compassion and our creativity. And I am here to tell you that there is such a need, and that there are so many lonely people, and that half of the people in nursing homes have no regular visitors, and they've grown beyond the age of their friends and their family and their connections. And their relatives might live thousands of miles away. So we're here in the community. We can be with them now and show them that love.
That's got to be so rewarding.
Yeah, yes.
And how do the artists find you? I mean, I haven't even heard about this. This is a wonderful program. How do they find you?
Well, we have a core group of people, and we continue to reach out through mainly our fundraising events. So we have a Sea-Level Singer-Songwriter Festival in the spring, and a lot of musicians come to us that way, and artists actually, because we have a visual arts auction, and it's called Instruments of Art, and it's in the early spring, and we've been so fortunate to host it at Decorum Furniture. Klaus and Robert there have been so generous with their hearts and their space, so Decorum is our home for that. And artists embellish instruments, and they turn them into works of art. Beautiful works of art, and we auction them off, and that's a big fundraiser. But that helps artists understand where we are and that we're out here. That raises awareness. And then throughout the year, we're involved in things like some fest events in Norfolk. Trying to think of things we do at the beach. We do something at Sandler Center, the Kids Arts Palooza. So we do special events and fundraisers. We do house concerts, and people find out about us a lot through those events because and then through our workshops.
Because you're always looking for volunteers to sign up and go out to the centers. And volunteers do complement our artists. We pay our artists. Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're funded by our local arts commissions. Oh, yeah. And they feel and we feel that it's very important that artists are compensated for their work. They've got mortgages, they've got grocery bills, just like us. Many of them have spent a lifetime honing their skills. Yeah. I've been an artist since I was a child. And so for a lot of people, the arts, if you're an artist, it's bubbling up out of you. You need to feed that part of your spirit, and you also it's a logical way for you to give back, but we do pay them for their time and their, what they're bringing, the important skills that they're bringing to these locations and individuals that we serve.
And as far as real artists that actually draw, do you have seminars where you let the seniors paint?
Well, yes, we're trying to bring elders more into those, and we're trying to become more of a community organization that actually has a community presence.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to take a break, and thank you so much for being here. This is amazing that you're offering these services to our community. So we've been talking to MaryAnn Toboz, and she is the founder and executive director of the Tidewater Arts Outreach. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about, shift a little bit and talk about art therapy for seniors. So stay with us, we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Join Our Town. I'm Ann Farrell-Tada, your host, and we have been joined today by MaryAnn Toboz, who is the founder and executive director of the Tidewater Arts Outreach. And we're going to talk this session about seniors and art therapy for seniors, or therapeutic art for seniors. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the arts have many, many benefits for seniors, and they can go from, you know, with visual arts, for instance, we're helping people with motor coordination. We're helping them with eye-hand coordination. Of course, we have to have brushes in a variety of sizes, and even alternative things like sponges or rollers, foam rollers, to stick around the end of a brush so that we can accommodate people with different abilities. Those individuals who do art program with us often are able to leave a creative legacy expression. So so we try to design our programs so that they have some kind of an autobiographical component. You know, show us what a favorite scene from youth, or a favorite scene from growing up, or a favorite memory of yours. If you know, can paint or collage about that, you know, that is a popular pastime with artists. Another benefit might be, I think we talked about singing in the earlier session. Dancing has great benefit for people, for instance, with Parkinson's disease, who are having issues with gait and balance. Through a facilitated dance experience and you know, helping elders shift from one weight to another, and again with the help of the activity director and the therapeutic rec specialist on staff and maybe some OT, we want to work in concert with them and bring them into the room with us to engage with their elders using our music as a background. And for instance, or for example, you know, the Polynesian music, the Polynesian costumes, if we had gypsy dancing, it might help, you know, stimulate interest in that music and movement, where sitting in the OT room might not be as interesting as what we're doing. So we're trying to help motivate and inspire and stimulate and show staff that they can use these different things to help get people to do things maybe longer, maybe do things that, with more comfort. So that's how we might, you know, collaborate with staff. Other benefits might include, of course, mental stimulation. And this is particularly true for people with dementia, because even as those individuals are suffering from the debilitating effects that are, you know, causing neurological breakdowns in their brains, the areas in their brains that aren't affected by dementia yet can still be positively affected by stimulating experiences. And that's why people with dementia need stimulating experiences throughout the day.
Yeah.
They need things going on, and they need different things. And I think care facilities are starting to pick up on that, and they're making accommodations. But what we can help offer are different people coming into their realm.
Right.
So they're getting that different stimuli. A different person with maybe a different accent, or different colored clothing, or a different way of saying hello are all very stimulating experiences for someone who is in a congregate care setting behind locked doors. They've got to be in a secure environment for their safety. And so that limits their exposure to the wide world, you know, and so we're bringing in people to help engage with them, and so that helps staff out, and it does help them mentally.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your geographical, like, who do you serve?
We're serving 7 cities, and we bring our programs to almost 70 locations in 7 Hampton Road cities. And we try to match artists. So we match the Suffolk artists and volunteers with the people in Suffolk who need programs.
Right.
You know, we're not asking them to go to the ocean front.
Yeah.
We're trying to help people in community and right where they are. And you know, the Virginians for the Arts say that the arts build community, and it's very true. And so we're trying to be a very, you know, community-centric, community-based programming, so that those kinds of relationships will go on outside of Tidewater Arts Outreach.
Right. So tell me a little bit about some of the, like, can you talk about some of the specific artists that you have worked for, and any anecdotal stories about how, I'm sure this has really changed their lives as well.
Yes, it has. And you know, we get a lot of client stories. I do hear from artists that they are extremely rewarded by the programs that they're doing with us. And we have artists, I was speaking with one gentleman last night who's been an artist with us since 2005. And just that tenure, you know, and the Polynesian dancers, the Kaliki dancers, they've been dancing with us for as long. And they dance almost once a month
And they'll
programs.
probably go to the different centers in different
Yes,
cities.
yeah, they have, they have their geographical
Yeah.
preferences, and we work to honor all of that. The time of day,
Yeah.
the where they like to go. And we work for all of our artists. We try to make this a win-win situation. We're working to bring kids into our programs so that kids can understand. And we have done some intergenerational art workshops,
Oh,
and we
wow.
want to do a lot more of them because we want kids to be in proximity with our elders.
Oh,
And
right.
we think that it's not happening enough. And I think that even that it may with the phones
Yeah.
and kids, all that they're doing with these PDAs, personal digital devices, might make that schism a little bit, broader.
Yeah.
And we want to put down the phones. We want to bring children, one child, one adult, and two elders at a table together
Yeah.
in a room setting, so that there might be 6 or 8 tables like this where they're creating art together, and that adult is facilitating a conversation between the kids and the elders. And we'll do pre and post surveys to ascertain if the attitudes are shifting. So kids are an important component, and I think that kids will learn a lot through these experiences, and we hope to start a lot more of those programs soon. You asked me for an anecdote. I'll give you an anecdote. We did a drum circle at an arts programs for people with dementia. And this was for people in the community, and it was a partnership, a pilot project that we ran with the Alzheimer's Association. And we had 12 couples from the community come in, so a caregiver and the person who's suffering from the disease. And so there were 24 people sitting around drumming. And one gentleman after the program said, "This is the first time I've seen my wife smile in 6 months."
Wow. Wow.
She was losing her hearing
Yeah.
as part of the process of dementia.
Yeah.
And the drumming was just the right level of stimulation for her. And I think it inspired her.
Yeah.
And it gave her hope.
And she heard something.
And she saw, yes, she heard and she saw the faces, and she was able to engage and get some
that's
emotion
wonderful.
out through that drumming, because it is emotion. I mean,
Yeah.
you're speaking through those drums. So drum circles are a popular thing. But wasn't that a powerful
Oh
statement?
my gosh, that's amazing.
We
That
had
is amazing.
another woman come looking for her mother at an assisted living facility. Couldn't find her anywhere, and she saw her dancing. And she said,
Wow.
"I didn't know. Never knew my mom liked to dance."
Wow. I was going to ask about that. Do you find that some elderly people have artistic ability that they didn't even know they had, that they're discovering?
Very often, we work with elders who are doing something for the first time.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So what do you mean when you talk about creative aging? What does that mean?
Well, I think that it means that as we age, our ability to do the things that we enjoyed earlier in life,
Like rollerblading?
like rollerblading, or getting up on the roof to fix that, or cooking dinner,
Yeah.
or driving across town to visit a friend, or taking in a concert at the Harrison Opera House. We lose the ability to do those things. Maybe we lose the friend who drove us there, or we can't hear the concert as well anymore, or we can't get out, we're in a wheelchair. So as we lose the ability to do things that we enjoyed earlier in life, and career is a huge one too, we need to replace those things with things that give us purpose and fulfillment, and are appropriate to where we've been in life. And what we've enjoyed in life. And so the arts have a great potential for filling those voids. Reading poetry, writing poetry, having someone to tell your story to, so that they can write a story, or having someone tape that story, or enjoying the music that you enjoyed earlier in life, because that's brought to you in a way that you can enjoy it. There are a lot of ways that the arts can help us, I think, engage again with each other.
Yeah.
You think about people sitting around in a nursing home, and what do you talk about all day?
Right.
And a lot of times it's your aches and pains, or what's for dinner. But the arts give you something else to talk about. The colors, the artists who you enjoyed in the 40s and 50s, the big band, or maybe it was the cowboy duets that you enjoyed, or you know, whatever the artist of the day might be bringing to you. The arts can be a springboard to get you out of that room that you're in or that chair that you're in, and reminisce and enjoy and converse about the things that are important to you and that you hold dearly.
The staff has got to love you, because I mean, you work with them, and they've got to love that, having that extra help and another resource.
And you know, the staff that are in these programs are so committed, so compassionate, so hardworking, and they have such difficult, stressful jobs because they're dealing, you know, with death and dying, and activities of daily living that we take for granted, and they're doing a lot of hard physical, emotional work, and they deserve the community support.
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
they deserve the community's involvement in what's going on in the buildings where they live and work and give so much of themselves. And that's a huge benefit of what this program could represent and does represent.
When it does, it sounds like you are evolving as well, and it's got to be exciting for you to be able to come up with all these new and different ways. I mean, the sky's the limit for you.
I try to rein it in. I try to get my sleep at night and try to pace it all out and plan and prepare. But it is exciting, and sometimes that, you know,
it's overwhelming.
It gets away from me a little bit. But we are working very hard. Fortunately, we have a great board of directors, and they are my sounding board, and we're strategic planning. Yes, and they help. They're a huge help and a huge resource. The list of our board of directors is on our website. We're looking for more board members. Of course, we're looking for more artists and more volunteers and supporters to share the vision and help. We have no marketing staff, so and that's why you haven't heard of us.
Do you go into schools and let, you know, art teachers and music teachers know about what y'all are doing?
We're working on it.
Because that would be
working on it.
Yeah.
Working on building those lists.
Because a lot of those schools have community service requirements, and this would be a wonderful way to, you know, everyone wins.
We need a volunteer to help us.
Okay, that's a good segue. So if somebody is watching this and they want to contact you, what do they do?
The website has our email address at the bottom of every page. And there are links all over that website to social media sites. So those are all great ways to connect.
And so you have people taking phone calls, and so they can call your phone number?
We have an office.
You have an office?
Yes.
And this, I imagine, would be in all areas, Suffolk, all the schools.
7 Hampton Road cities. So Newport News, Hampton, Suffolk, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, and Norfolk.
And would you say your biggest need is the artists or volunteers?
Actually,
besides money, money's always the
It's
need.
Marketing.
Oh, the marketing.
It's marketing.
Getting the word out.
To get the word out, to help get the word out through social media or word of mouth, or word of mouth is always wonderful. But that's our biggest need, to help raise awareness. So I really appreciate being on your show today and having this opportunity to talk to you.
I have really enjoyed having you on this show, and I'm so happy to know about this too.
Thank you.
And so we have been talking to MaryAnn Toboz, and she is the founder and executive director of the Tidewater Arts Outreach. And we thank you so much for being with us today. And I'm Ann Farrell Tata, and please come back next time.
Thanks, Ann Farrell.
Thank you.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California.